All right, without further ado, we're not going to waste any more of his time. Utah State football has completed spring camp. They'll get ready for fall camp here coming up in the summer. And then, of course, the season gets underway with Robert Morris and one of the probably more, if not the most difficult schedule in the Blake Anderson era here at Utah State. It's a very difficult schedule, but they got some exciting things coming along, some new players in addition, and offensively, I think there's a lot of questions, understandably, but I think they got some of those questions answered well. Joining us here on the Full Court Press is the co-offensive coordinator and, of course, the wide receivers coach who, look, any receiver that comes to Utah State, Cefalo turns them into gold, and he's here joining us on the Full Court Press. Coach, hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing, man?
We are good. Hey, so Coach, recap us spring ball from from an offensive standpoint. What was spring ball like? What did you see? What stood out to you?
It was a really good spring. It was a consistent spring. You looked around and you saw a lot of familiar faces, which is you don't always know what you're going to get going into a spring anymore with the state of college football and the way kids can transfer and people can transfer and different things like that. So I think the first thing you saw was, you saw a lot of faces that, played a lot of football for us last year. The wideout room especially, and the running backs, the tight ends, the offensive line. And so I think that was a good thing to see because, we did some really good things last year. We struggled at times last year, but we had people growing up out there on the field. And then for those kids to choose to come back here and do it again with us, you just see confidence, you see maturity, and from my point of view, you see an exciting future.
We'll get to that really naughty word, the transfer portal, here in just a little bit. But as you said, last year, you guys did some good things. You finished 25th in the nation in total offense, 26th in scoring offense. What do you most attribute that to? Because, the way you guys run your offense, it's go, 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 go. But I felt like you guys improved in a lot of things, especially the turnover ratio. I thought that's something that stood out to me. What did you attribute most when you saw last year's squad?
Yeah, I think the first thing, if anyone watched this last year, is we were very explosive, and we were kind of explosive at any moment. Like you said, we go really fast, and, not every play is a home run, not every play is a great play, but all of a sudden, one of our running backs is running down the middle of the field with the football. One of our wideouts, has the football in the open field or is running by the DB. So we were able to be really explosive last year, which I thought, which is always something you're going to want to be. You're going to want to keep the defense on their heels. You want the fans to stay excited and engaged, and there's no better way to do that in a football game than to light up the scoreboard. But with that, I think we were striving. We come out of the season, we're striving for some more consistency. We were able to run the ball really well last year, and obviously, very dangerous, in the air. But I think it's, when we come out of a game and we look back, we were at our best when we were running and throwing the ball efficiently and also explosively. So that's, things we're looking back and what we did well and maybe what we did not do well and what we need to work on. So like I said, the good news is a lot of those kids that were making those plays and a lot of those kids that were making those mistakes are back, and you can't beat that. The one, making the play gives you confidence, and making a mistake gives you a chance to learn from it. And our coaches, we have a chance to keep correcting and keep coaching and encouraging. So it's a very good thing.
One of those guys coming back is last year he finished first team in the All-Mountain West, and that's Jalen Royals. He comes back for another season. What's your conversation like with him, and what do you want to see him improve upon coming into the 2024 season?
Yeah, obviously Jalen burst onto the scene last year, which was, just so proud of him and so happy for him, and, comes from a great family, and he's such a great kid, and he works hard, and he's a great student, he's a great person. He really is an all-around great human being. I want him to build off the confidence that, the season that he had last year. And, my job is to continuously, teach him and continuously push him and challenge him. And, he's put himself in a position now where, he wants to have another great year, and he wants a chance to play at the next level, and he's going to get that opportunity, but he knows how much work goes into it, and he knows, we're going to, the improvement of just, the offense and understanding what we're trying to get done and moving him around to different places and just, kind of utilize, one of our many weapons, and the good news with us is it seems like we always do have not just one, we have multiple weapons on offense, and obviously he's at the top of that list, but just some more understanding of what we're trying to do, and being able to, what the defense is trying to do to take him away, because if you're going to play us as a defensive coordinator, you need to have a plan for Jalen Royals. So what can we do as coaches, to maybe combat those, different things that they're doing against Jalen, and then Jalen understanding what they're trying to do, and maybe what are the things that we need him to do and going to ask him to do. So incredible challenge ahead of us as coaches, and also for Jay. But all the success he gets, he works for it, and it couldn't happen to a better human being. Just so excited for him, and just can't wait just for him to have an incredible senior season.
What do you want to see out of Colby Bowman? He's had some bright spurts, here and there, but what do you want to see to get more consistency out of Bowman? Yeah,
and that's consistency is a very popular word, and even with some of the guys that we've had a tremendous success with, you're always, as an offense, we're striving to be more consistent. We were exciting and explosive, but we can all be more consistent, and Colby falls in that list, just like a lot of the players on our team do. And I think it was big for him. He's been in college for a while, and obviously he was at Stanford, and he graduated with a degree from there. But from high school till last season, he didn't play much football. Wasn't out in the games very often, and was a role player for the team he played for previously, and then for us. Like you saw, he's explosive, and he has some talent and some ability, but every rep he's getting on the field is a chance for him to gain more confidence, and kind of learning, just because he hasn't taken a lot of snaps at wide receiver, at the Division I level. But Colby's an incredible kid, great presence in my room, special teams, phenomenal player there. Knows his role, and also has the ability to become a leader, which I like, and he's all in. He wants to win. He wants to have a great year. So, want him to keep working on a bunch of different things, but just an incredible young man to have on the roster.
Kyle Cefalo, co-offensive coordinator of Utah State football, wide receivers coach as well, joining us here on the Full Court Press on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan. Coach, let's go ahead and get to the elephant in the room. You lose Cooper Legas, you lose McKay Hillstead, Spencer Petras. Looks like he could be that guy that could start game one. What are you seeing from the quarterback room, and who stood out to you, and what have you seen out of Petras?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, no one's gonna sit here and, complain about the state of college football and where it's at. It's the new reality, and now you have to adapt, and coaches have to make decisions just as the players are making decisions, and you can't look too far ahead. You gotta be focused on the season at hand, the season that's coming up, and obviously, a lot of attention gets put on the kids that are leaving, and I wish at times more attention got put on the kids that are staying. I wish there was more attention on the Robert Briggses of the world. I wish there was more attention on the Brock Lanes, the Josh Sturzers, the Cole Moats, the Pulealos, the Micah Davises. I can go down the list of kids that chose to stay, and that doesn't mean they didn't have opportunities to leave. So, just very proud of the kids that stayed. And the kids that left, you don't take it personal anymore. It is what it is, and some kids are making decisions that they feel is best for them, and you got to let them do that. But between Spencer Petras and Bryson Barnes being in the room now, it's that's a lot of college football that's been played between those two guys at very, very, very high levels. When you're talking about the Big Ten, you're talking about Bryson playing in Rose Bowls. I love the maturity that they bring, and the work ethic and their preparation. I mean, they prepare for a practice just like the coaches prepare for a practice, and then you put on top of that, you put some talent on top of that, and they both do some things a little bit different, but they both have some really, really good skill sets. So I like where it's at, and obviously we're adding more bodies to the room, and like I said, I wish everyone that left, man, I wish them nothing but the best, and I don't no ill feelings, no bad blood at all. But like I said, we got some incredible kids that chose to stay, and they deserve and demand my 100% attention.
Well, let's talk about those guys in the room. Spencer Petras and Braxton Barnes. This is a whole. I feel like it's a brand new offense for them to learn because of the way you guys play in regards to pace, and something that Iowa football is a little bit different from that. I would say Utah football to an extent is different from that. What's the biggest coaching adjustment or biggest adjustment for them to have to learn of this offense?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you hit it on the head there. I mean, there's, the differences are just so glaring, just the way we do things, and right, wrong, or indifferent. That's not what that conversation is about. It's just about the way we do things and how they adapt. And I think I think one of the first thing for especially a quarterback in this offense is the pace of play. We're not in a huddle. You got to get a signal. You've got to communicate. And we expect you, as soon as everyone's set and you've communicated, we expect you to snap the ball, and we expect you not only to snap the ball, but now put your eyes in the right place, make the right decision, understand, what your checks are, understand where you need to protect yourself. And it all happens so fast, and the only way to get comfortable doing those things is to prepare, to study, but then to do them in practice and make some mistakes and let us as coaches kind of continue to push you along. And that goes for anybody, any position in our offense that is new, because it is a different style, it is a different pace. But as the quarterback, we put a lot on that kid. Just of the command they have to have, and we go at their tempo, and I'm always yelling at the wideouts to get set, and the running backs, the tight ends, the O-line, they all got to get set. But at the end of the day, we go as fast as the quarterback lets us go. And I think these guys, it was very new to them, but they're understanding what we're doing, and you could just see throughout the spring the confidence they were gaining, and it was starting to show up, and that's very, very exciting. It's very exciting just to watch, kids work, to prepare, but then also see the results start to come out on the field, and so we're going to keep working on that. We got a big summer ahead of us, and they'll be with Coach Jackson, and then fall camp will sneak up on us like it always does, and we'll look up and we'll be in week 8, week 9 of the season, just as we all know. So, but very, like I said, excited. A lot of work to do. A lot of reps to still put in, a lot of communication, a lot of mistakes still to make. But, we got some time to make them, so let's make them, let's fix them, let's move on.
Hey, you talked about the running back room a little bit, and fan favorite Robert Briggs. Everyone seems to love this guy, including you guys as coaches on the offensive side of the ball. What has he brought to the team so far, and especially in regards of leadership in the running back room, and maybe not even just on the running back room, but even in the offensive side of the locker room? What have you seen out of Robert Briggs, and what excites you about him this year?
Yeah, it's funny, man. You look at it, he's a running back that our staff, had brought in, and, it was 2 years ago, he was the true freshman. Now you look up all of a sudden, and he's a junior. And he's one of our most experienced, backs, and an experienced guy on the team, on our offense. And, I think, right when Robert got here, obviously as a true freshman, I think it was the first game, I think it was the UConn game where he broke a big run for a touchdown, and it was obvious to see his speed, his quickness, his burst, and just his overall athleticism. And so that was obviously, shows, some of the reasons why he was recruited. But now, going on to year 3 of him in this, in this system, and, just becoming a more mature running back, and not just being the fast guy and the quick guy, but, understanding what's happening in front of me, understand what, the O-line is doing, what they're blocking, who they're working to, which blocks do I need to push and hug and different things like that. And I would, I think coming out of the spring, we had some conversations with him about the things we wanted him to improve on, and he's done it. I mean, he's turning himself into a complete running back, and then just another kid, man. I love Rob. I love his attitude, and he wants to work. He wants to be good, and he still wants you to coach him. He doesn't think he's, has all the answers, and luckily there's times we can just give him the ball and let him do his thing. But he wants to work on the things that he needed to work on, and I think in the spring that showed up, and now he's got the summer and fall camp to fine tune the things he's working on, and continuously put himself in a position where his body can handle being a running back every day in Division I football, and couldn't be more excited for the season that Robert Briggs has the capability of having.
I know this sounds like an obvious question, so forgive me for asking it, but what's it been like serving on the offensive side of things for coaching decisions along with Coach Blake Anderson?
It's great, man. I mean, we've worked together for a long time, and I learned a lot from him when I was young, and I think the good thing about Coach A and I is we there's things that we like to do, and there's things that we are very comfortable with, but we haven't shied away from learning something new, and we haven't shied away from making adjustments. Maybe it's something we haven't done before as an offense, and we learned it, and then we were able to teach it to our guys. So we're always, we believe in what we do. We love what we do. We love our offense. We love our system, but we're never scared to try something new, or admit you need an answer for this, and let's go find it, or let's go, maybe someone can teach it to us or teach us something different. And that goes from myself and Coach A, and that goes for Coach Bassett, Coach T. Alavea, and now Coach Beal's our new running backs coach. But just the ability for us all to work together in that room, and Hayden Kingston, Brandon Bowling, and Cobb Summers, our analysts and our GAs, man. I mean, we're all in this thing together, and we work really well together, and we work really hard. But Coach A and I, we've been through a lot together on and off the field, but we have, we understand, what we're trying to do, and we're confident in it. And I think that goes down to the players. I think the players see an offensive staff that's close. They see an offensive staff that cares, and they see an offensive staff that genuinely cares about one another. And that doesn't fall short on the players either. And I think it's just really important. And that leadership and that environment starts at the top with Coach A, and it's our jobs as assistants to continue to preach and to act in a way that exemplifies our culture. So I think it's really important.
Co-offensive coordinator Kyle Cefalo joining us here on the Full Court Press on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM The Fan. Coach, I know you're modest about your accomplishments. That's something you don't like to talk about. In fact, you like to avoid it. I understand. But with the amount of success you've had in the 3 seasons, now going into your 4th season here at Utah State, Devin Tompkins, Brandon Bowling, and Derek Wright might be the greatest trio of receivers we've ever seen in program history on a single team. Brian Cobbs, I mean, the list goes on. Terrell Vaughn's, what he did last year. What are some goals, or maybe personal, I don't even know what to call it, personal goals, I guess is what I'll say. I know it sounds egocentric, but what are some of those goals that you have in mind going into your 4th year that you want to try to accomplish personally for you as a football coach?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I want to win. That's always what I want, and I want to have success. I want the whole football team to have success, and yeah, I'm very prideful in the group of wide receivers, and the way I coach them, the way I talk to them, and the way I communicate to them, the way I love them, and I think that shows up on Saturday. I think that shows up in the way they have played for me, and I always appreciate that. But the most important thing for me is, man, I want to continuously learn. I've had some success. We've had some success, but you never want to feel like you know it all. You never want to get to that point, and then when you think you know it all, that's when someone runs by you when you least expect it. And I constantly want to be, whether it's drills, whether it's routes, or whether it's a way to communicate. Just always, take on the challenge of, how do I get my guys to play well? How do I get them to understand, kind of what we're doing? But there's been, we've accomplished a lot. But to me, the biggest, compliment I can get as a coach is, especially nowadays, when the players choose to stay. When they choose to stay to play for you and to play for your staff and to play for that university. I mean, that's probably the biggest compliment we can get these days as coaches, is when, they might have opportunities, and they might have opportunities to make more money and different things like that, but they choose to stay because they want to play with you. And then as a coach, I take that, and I don't take that lightly, and I want to, if they're going to choose to stay with me, I want to help them achieve their goals. And if the players are achieving their goals and they're achieving their dreams, that probably means that I'm getting close to doing the same. But at the end of the day, man, I love coaching this group of wideouts. I love this wideout room. I feel like now that I'm in my 4th year here, I feel like myself and Coach Anderson, we've built this room. And these kids, I want them to be here, and they've chosen to be here, and they've chosen to stay here. So I couldn't be happier about that. And like I said earlier, I know the transfers get attention. Oh, there's another kid leaving. There's another kid doing this. Think about all the kids that chose to stay, and think about the kids that believe in what we're doing. They believe in themselves. They believe in their teammates, and that's the most exciting part for me. And we have a heck of a schedule coming up, as you mentioned. But you know what? We have a group of kids that they chose to be here, they chose to stay here, and they want to achieve something special. And as coaches, we're going to put them in the best positions to do that. And I couldn't be more excited. Definitely going to enjoy the summer. They're going to work really hard. We got some camps coming up in June, and then I'm going to, get away like I always do and go visit my family and go do some fishing. But when I come back at the end of July and August rolls around, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to have fun, and we're ready to compete. And like I said, man, just can't say it enough. Just how excited I am for these kids, and the work they're putting in, the work they're about to put in, and it's all going to come down to the fall and wins and losses on Saturdays, and I'm here for it, man.
Hey, what is your getaway? Like, where do you go? What's your fishing spot? Give us the 411 on that.
Oh, I got my local fishing spot that you can always find me. You can always find me up the Logan River and in the Blacksmith Fork River, up that separate canyon. But honestly, when I get some vacation time, I mean, the first thing I do is I go home. My whole family lives in New England. My parents, my sisters, my nieces and nephews are all back there. So I try to get home, and we have my parents have a beautiful house back, on the ocean. So I try to in the summer, I try to go back, around the 4th of July and go for a couple weeks. And man, I sit on the beach almost every day, and I play a little golf, and I do a little fishing, and I get to spend the time with my family because, as I get older, my parents get older. And everyone, and so you just cherish the time you get to spend with each other, and luckily I work for a man that nobody appreciates and values family more than he does, and understands just the importance of having that balance. And I think that's what I've been able to do in my life. Is I love college football, and I love coaching, and I want to win, and I want my wideouts to be the best in the world, and I want our offense to be the best. But it's important to have balance in your life, and that's one thing that I think I do a really good job of. Is when it's time to work, it's work time, and when I do get that little bit of free time, I'm able to take a deep breath and enjoy it.
Hey, I've only seen Bill Belichick smile like maybe a couple times. I'm a diehard Patriots fan, but he always talks about the Nantucket muffins. I mean, the food over there, at least the bakery items, are those as good as Coach Belichick says?
That's funny because I am going to Nantucket this summer. That's where I am actually.
Oh, you're kidding me!
Me and my family and I are going over there. We're going to spend a week on the island.
Oh, good for you.
My parents actually used to have a house on the island, and they had it for a long time. They ended up selling it a few years back. So I was Nantucket is it's a special place. It's very unique. It's a small island. But it's absolutely gorgeous, and they got great restaurants, incredible food, incredible culture, great golf courses, great fishing, great beaches. I mean, if you don't like any of those things, I don't know what's wrong with you. That's a special spot, and the food is always good, and I can't wait to spend a week there.
Hey, Coach, we can't wait for July and for camp to get going. And, of course, Robert Morris here to open up the season for Utah State football. Look forward to that. Enjoy the offseason, Coach. Get some R&R, and we'll talk to you in July.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, thanks, Coach.